قد ايه عمرك يا زين؟
ما بعرف، بدك تسألني.
حضرة الرئيس، بما انه زين ما عنده اي وثيقة ولادة،
مين عند سكر الدنيا؟
شو بدك من اهلك؟
ما بقى بدي اياهم يخلفوا.
There are films that tell stories. And then there are films that confront you, that look directly into the harshest corners of reality and refuse to soften what they find there. And Capernaum is one of those rare cinematic experiences that doesn't just unfold, it grips, unsettles, and lingers long after it ends. Directed by Nadine Labaki, this film doesn't rely on spectacle or fantasy, but instead builds its entire emotional weight on something far more powerful: truth, or at least a version of truth that feels so raw and immediate that it becomes impossible to ignore. From the very beginning, it places us in a world that feels chaotic, suffocating, and painfully real, a world seen through the eyes of a child who has been forced to grow up far too quickly. At the center of this story is Zain, portrayed by Zain Al Rafeea, a boy whose life has been shaped not by comfort or innocence, but by neglect, survival, and a constant struggle against circumstances that seem designed to break him. His presence on screen doesn't feel like acting in the traditional sense. It feels lived in, as though every glance, every movement, every moment of defiance comes from a place that is deeply personal. And that authenticity is no accident. The film is built on the performances of non-professional actors, many of whom share striking similarities with the characters they portray, blurring the line between fiction and reality in a way that makes everything feel even more immediate and emotionally charged. The narrative unfolds in a way that is both intimate and expansive, following Zain as he navigates a life that offers him almost nothing in terms of stability or care. His family, rather than being a source of protection, becomes one of the first obstacles he must endure. Neglect is not presented as a dramatic twist or a shocking revelation. It is simply the baseline of his existence. It is woven into the fabric of his everyday life, shaping his decisions, his outlook, and his understanding of what it means to survive. And survival in this world is not a metaphor. It is a constant, urgent necessity. What makes this story particularly compelling is the way it refuses to present Zain as a passive victim. He is resourceful, sharp, and fiercely independent, navigating the streets with a kind of instinctual intelligence that speaks to both his resilience and the harshness of the environment that has shaped him. Every decision he makes carries weight, not just because of the immediate consequences, but because of what it reveals about the kind of life he has been forced to lead. There is no safety net here, no comforting illusion that things will simply work out. Instead, there is only the relentless forward motion of a boy trying to carve out some form of existence in a world that seems indifferent to his suffering. As Zain's journey takes him away from his family and deeper into the streets, the film begins to expand its focus, introducing us to other lives that intersect with his in meaningful and often heartbreaking ways. Among them is Rahil, portrayed by Yordanos Shifarau, an Ethiopian refugee living in precarious circumstances, constantly on the edge of losing everything. Her presence in the story adds another layer of complexity, highlighting not just individual hardship, but systemic issues that affect entire communities. Through her, the film explores themes of displacement, vulnerability, and the quiet strength required to endure a life defined by uncertainty. Rahil's relationship with her infant son, Jonas, played by Boluwatife Treasure Benkole, becomes one of the emotional anchors of the narrative. When Zain finds himself in a position where he must care for the baby, the film takes on a new dimension, shifting from a story of individual survival to one of responsibility, connection, and unexpected tenderness. These moments, while often quiet, carry immense emotional weight. They reveal a side of Zain that is deeply human, a capacity for care and empathy that persists despite everything he has endured. The dynamic between Zain and Jonas is particularly powerful because it feels so genuine. There is no sense of forced sentimentality here. Instead, their bond develops naturally through shared moments of struggle and fleeting glimpses of comfort. Watching Zain navigate the responsibilities of caring for a child while still being a child himself creates a tension that runs throughout the film. It is both heartbreaking and deeply moving, a reminder of how circumstances can force individuals into roles they were never meant to take on. One of the most striking aspects of the film is its visual and narrative style. Nadine Labaki approaches storytelling in a way that feels almost documentary-like, allowing scenes to unfold with a sense of spontaneity and unpredictability. The decision to work with non-professional actors and encourage them to react naturally within each scene gives the film a level of authenticity that is difficult to replicate. Dialogue feels organic, emotions feel unfiltered, and the world itself feels alive in a way that is both immersive and, at times, overwhelming. This approach also allows the film to capture moments of unexpected beauty amidst the chaos. There are instances of quiet tenderness, small gestures of kindness, and fleeting glimpses of hope that stand in contrast to the harsh realities surrounding them. These moments are not presented as solutions or resolutions, but as reminders that even in the most difficult circumstances, there is still the possibility of connection and humanity. As the story progresses, Zain's journey takes a turn that brings him into direct conflict with the systems that have failed him. His eventual arrest and the events that follow lead to one of the film's most powerful and thought-provoking elements, the courtroom. It is here that the narrative shifts from a personal story of survival to a broader commentary on responsibility, justice, and the very idea of what it means to bring a child into the world. Zain's decision to sue his parents for the crime of giving him life is both shocking and deeply symbolic. It forces the audience to confront uncomfortable questions about accountability, not just on an individual level, but on a societal one. What does it mean to be responsible for a child? Where does that responsibility begin and end? And what happens when the systems that are supposed to protect and support individuals fail to do so? The courtroom scenes are handled with the same level of authenticity and restraint that defines the rest of the film. There is no grand spectacle, no dramatic monologues designed to manipulate the audience. Instead, there is a quiet intensity, a sense of gravity that comes from the weight of what is being said and the reality it represents. Zain's voice, though young, carries a conviction that is impossible to ignore. It is not just a plea for justice, it is a demand to be seen, to be acknowledged, to have his existence recognized as something that matters. What makes these moments particularly impactful is the way they resonate beyond the confines of the film. They speak to real-world issues, to the experiences of countless individuals who find themselves trapped in cycles of poverty, neglect, and systemic inequality. And yet, the film never feels like a lecture or a piece of propaganda. It remains grounded in its characters, in their experiences, and in the emotional truth of their stories. The recognition that Capernaum received, including winning the Grand Jury Prize at the Cannes Film Festival, is a testament to its impact and the power of its storytelling. But what truly sets it apart is not just its critical acclaim, but the way it connects with audiences on a deeply emotional level. It is a film that demands empathy, that challenges perceptions, and that refuses to be easily forgotten. At its core, this is a story about resilience, about the strength it takes to endure in the face of overwhelming adversity. But it is also a story about hope, not in the conventional sense of a happy ending or a neat resolution, but in the quieter, more fragile sense of possibility. It suggests that even in the most difficult circumstances, there is still the potential for change, for understanding, for something better. And perhaps that is what makes the film so powerful. It does not offer easy answers or simple solutions. Instead, it presents a world that is complex, messy, and often unjust, and asks the audience to sit with that reality, to engage with it, and to consider their own place within it. It is not a film that seeks to comfort, but one that seeks to awaken, to provoke thought, and to inspire action in whatever form that may take. By the time the story reaches its conclusion, there is a sense that something has shifted, not just within the narrative, but within the viewer as well. Zain's journey, with all its hardships and fleeting moments of grace, leaves an imprint that is difficult to shake. It is a reminder of the power of cinema to not only tell stories, but to create experiences that resonate on a deeply human level. In the end, Capernaum stands as a testament to the idea that even the smallest voices can carry immense weight, that even the most overlooked lives have stories worth telling. It is a film that challenges, that moves, and that ultimately reminds us of the importance of compassion, not as an abstract concept, but as something that must be actively practiced and upheld. And in doing so, it becomes more than just a film. It becomes a call to see, to feel, and to care in a way that is both urgent and deeply necessary.